Good day everyone and welcome back to BFA501. In this video, we are going to learn about some practical aspect in internal control. The content of this video is taken as part of the lab activity for BFA501 unit. There are a couple of electronic documents that we are going to work on this activity. The first document is the DFD or data flow diagram. We have learned about this kind of diagram in the previous session. This diagram is meant to capture the activities involved in the business process in the case study that we are going to use. The second electronic document is an Excel spreadsheet. We are going to use this spreadsheet to document every threat or risk that we discover from the DFD. The suggested control activities which address each of the threats will also be documented in the spreadsheet, this column. Our first case study is related to the expenditure cycle, specifically in goods receiving process. In this case, we are only focusing on the process on receiving the items or goods which have been purchased from vendor or supplier. There are two activities in the diagram: receive goods and transfer goods to inventory department. Four entities are involved in this process: supplier or vendors, receiving department, inventory stores department, and purchasing departments. Suppliers or vendor will send goods or item accompanied by packing slip supplier or vendor will send goods accompanied by packing slip which are going to be received by the receiving department. The receiving department then issue a receiving report related to the delivery. This report and the goods are then passed to the inventory stores department. This department is in charge in storing the goods that been received, the goods or item that been received, and place it to the storage. A copy of the receiving report will be sent to the purchasing department. So that's pretty much the whole or the big picture of the receiving goods process. Now let's put our critical mind and start to think about what kind of threats or risks which are possible to occur. The first one is possibly receiving delivery of unordered goods. Let's add the threats on the diagram. We can pick a symbol here. Hang on, let me fix the symbol first. Okay. We can use a triangle symbol which we can borrow from the flowchart section to represent a threat or a risk. Okay, let's say we will put orange color, and then because this is the first thread, we will use numbering, number 1. So triangle with number 1 is to represent the first thread in this case. And then let's add the thread on the diagram. Okay, this one with the triangle symbol. So in this case, the receiving department is receiving items which never been purchased. So basically we never purchased that item, but the supplier sent the item to us. So now let's list the item in our spreadsheet. So we already identified the item, we put a symbol here, and let's document it in our spreadsheet. So the thread number, this is the activity. The activity is the receive goods. This one, activity number 1.1, the receive goods, and the thread which may occur in this activity is receiving delivery of unordered goods. And the numbering is number 1 in this case for this particular thread. Okay, now let's think about what kind of control that we can put to prevent such thread. Okay, the possible control that we can place is accept only deliveries which there is an approved purchase order. So we only want to accept deliveries that has approved purchase order. So in this case we can type it here, accept only deliveries which only accompanied by the approved purchase order for this case. Okay, and we can put the number 1.1. So this okay, 1.1. The first digit is to represent the thread, the second digits here, the 0.1 here to represent the control. So this is the first control that we will apply to the first thread. Okay, so basically in this case the receiving department will only receive the goods. So basically the supplier or the vendor will send the goods accompanied by the packing slip, and then the receiving department will check into the purchase order table whether we have purchased that item or not. If we never purchase that item, we will reject the item, we won't receive that item. Okay, so that's basically the process here. And then in that process we will also query the supplier whether we have purchased that item from that supplier or not. Okay, if we have purchased that one before and we have the proper purchase order, we will accept the item or the goods. But if we never purchase that item, we will reject that item. Okay, that's basically the control that we will propose for this one. Okay, now let's move to the second thread. The second possible thread that might occur is receiving a quantity of goods different from the amount ordered. Okay, so in this case, for example, we order 7 items, but we only receive 5 items, for example. So let's put another symbol here. Okay, let's be consistent. I'm gonna use the orange color, and then this is to represent the second thread. So I will put number 2. Okay, let me squeeze it a little bit. Okay, and we will document the thread here. So the second thread that we find out related with this activity is, so put number 2. So, okay, we will wrap the text to make it nice. Okay, receiving a quantity of goods different from the amount ordered. Okay, so let's think about the solution. Okay. Some possible control to be applied are carefully counting the quantity of received goods. Okay, so let's put here the control that we are proposing. Carefully count the quantity of received goods. So basically after we receive the item, we double check with the purchase order, and if it is matched, the next step that we can do is carefully count the number of the item, whether it's matched with the purchase order or not. Okay, so this is I will put 2.1 because 2 is to represent the thread number 2, and 1 to represent the control. So this is the first control that we can apply for thread number 2. Okay, this is a good control. However, this particular control could be labor intensive and prone to human error. And then the second control that possibly can be proposed and can be applied is, wherever possible, use barcodes and RFID tag to reduce accidental mistake in counting. So let's put the second control over here. Okay, I will use wrap text to make it nice. So this is to address thread number 2, and this is the second control that we will apply. 2.2 means the first 2 represent the number of the thread number, and the second 2 is to represent the control number to address this thread. Okay, so RFID and barcodes is really helpful in order to reduce the human error. And then some company even also applied this particular control, which is quite interesting. So the third control that possibly applied in this case is offer bonuses for catching discrepancies between the packing slip and actual quantity received. So let's put it here. I will make it wrap again. Put 2.3 because this is the third control that proposed to address the second threat or risk. So in this case, the company will offer bonus to the employee, or in this case is to the receiving goods department. Okay, receiving goods department, if they manage to find discrepancies or mismatch between the packing slip and the actual quantity received. So this is just to motivate the employee in the receiving department, because you know, like counting quantity for every received goods can be quite labor intensive and and quite prone to human error. Okay, I will make it a little bit nicer here. I will merge the cell. I will merge the cell as well here, just to make it nicer. Okay. So let's move to the third thread. Okay, the third thread, the possible third thread is receiving damaged goods. So we are receiving an item which actually damaged or broken item. Okay, so we will code this one as 3. Okay, and then one possible control to be applied is random sampling for goods quality assessment. So we will apply a random sampling, because this one can be very it's even more labor intensive than just counting the item, because we assess the quality of each received goods or each received item. So for some item can be impossible to check each of the received item. So rather than checking each of the receiving item, we check randomly by using a random sampling, and this can be proposed as a control. So I will put 3.1, 3 here to represent the third risk, and 1 is the first control that can be proposed for addressing the third risk. Okay, let's move on to the fourth possible risk or possible threat that may happen. In this case is receiving goods of inferior quality. So we have no broken item or no damage in the item, but the quality is not as promised. So in this case 4.1. So in this case we can apply the same control here, the same control, random sampling for goods quality item. Okay, so this one is more about preventive. Yeah, I think all the control that we apply here is more about detective and preventive. Mostly it's about detective and preventive. Okay, I will make it a bit nicer here. So I will merge the column here, put it left and then put it in the middle, and then I will merge the cells over here, put it in the middle and then right left. Okay, so okay guys, that's pretty much. Oh sorry, I forgot to put the icon here. So yeah, let's put the icon here because there are 4 threads here. So let's put 4 triangles here. Okay, to make it consistent and correlated. Okay, let's say this one is thread number. Okay, let's make it nice. So this is 1 and then this is 2. And then this is gonna be 3, and let's put the 4th one here. It's gonna be 4, and I will make it consistent here, and I'm gonna put the orange color here. Okay guys, that's pretty much our first case study for the lab activity. Thank you and have a good day.